stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. We'll call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Can I get a roll call, please?
Michael Cashman.
Present.
Thomas Wood.
Present.
Barbara Hebert is absent. Charles Costick.
Here.
Dana Isabella.
Here.
James Coffey.
Here.
And I am present.
Is there anyone seeking to provide public comment this evening? Seeing none, we'll advance. I may circle back with some supervisor stuff, get into it. Tonight is a work session, but we do have one resolution to move forward. We're beginning to get into that time of year, just wrapping up some purchases and stuff. And we will lay on the table resolution 237 to request to purchase a new vehicle for Parks and Recreation Department.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh Park and Recreation Department has the need for a new vehicle, and whereas the Parks and Recreation Department has complied with the New York State OGS procurement requirements for acquisition by the completion of the competitive mini bid process executed via the New York State Vehicle Marketplace, therefore be it resolved that the town board accept the following bid from Maine Motor Car to purchase a 2024 Chrysler Pacifica all-wheel drive minivan pursuant to New York State Office of General Services Standards and Purchase Group Contract. It is further resolved that the purchase of the 2024 Chrysler Pacifica Touring all-wheel drive minivan from Maine Motor Car located at 224 West Main Street in Johnstown, New York, not to exceed $48,871.90. Be approved, and it is further resolved that the town board is hereby grant permission to Ms. Erin Pangborn to order said vehicle, and the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign any related documents required for the purchase. And it is further resolved that payment for the purchase of said minivan will be made payable from the 2023 Parks and Recreation budget account number as stated here, and that a copy of this resolution be given to Erin Pangborn and the town clerk as along with the finance manager.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Wood. Is there a second?
Second.
Isabella? Any discussion? I would just add that at various times this has been a long-going conversation from Fleet to even a couple of conversations a couple of years ago. So I'm glad to see this moving forward, and it's time, and we're just trying to get into the pipeline. So
Yeah, maybe if we get this, I won't have to use my AAA to make sure we get back.
that's a reference to AOT.
Yeah, that would be nice.
All right. Seeing nothing further, can I get a roll call, please?
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Charles Costick.
Yes.
Dana Isabella.
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes, resolution does carry. For supervisor report, just very briefly, interviews have been held off of the civil service list for the building and grounds superintendent, and I would anticipate having a formal recommendation before this group sometime next week. So I just want to give folks a heads up, more discussion to be held. So tonight we do have, as part of the work session, draft resolutions, including the fall. We'll circle back to some of them. Minutes, monthly reports, resolutions to hold a public hearing for local law number 6, and a resolution to hold a public hearing for local law number 7. Adoption of the subdivision regulation amendments for the town of Plattsburgh, professional branding services award, 3% site plan return for Adams Glass, UMS, and UMS, and then we have a resignation from Mr. Alexander Forrester, an alternate member of the ZBA, so we'll be needing a replacement for that, adoption of the budget, and then the completed assessment roles. I would circle back to two of the resolutions. While we are not acting on them tonight, it would be setting forth a public hearing for local law number 6 and 7. Dana, I know that you're on that committee. I don't know if you want to speak to it all. I know you and Barb have been kind of taking point on it.
Right, so this is the RPTL, otherwise known, if I could know, the real property tax law. And Barb and I have been meeting with Brian for a few months, and with Jim to update these as requested by the state. The genesis or the purpose, as it says in section 1 of this law, is to increase the maximum income ceiling for partial real property tax exempt property owners by persons 65 years of age or older who meet certain income limitations. So this is really the way I see it, and Jim or Brian can attest to this, that this is for our people whose resources are most stretched in their retirement years, 65 and above, in their older years. And it's pretty spelled out, so, you know, I think you've all had a chance to look at it, and Brian's here, and Jim's here to answer questions, but we've had numerous meetings and been poking around at this and making it what makes sense for us, I think. And I know for me, who came into it with pretty much close to zero knowledge, and I don't even think about being 65 or older at this point, I've learned a lot. And I really appreciate both of these laws. One is for veterans also is the other one. One is disability. So both, that's why they're pretty much mirror each other.
Yeah, they're almost exactly the same.
Yep.
And I've looked at maybe 20 town laws from various other towns. Some have combined the disabled and the age situation. We have chosen not to. And I think it will be very helpful for people that find themselves in this particular situation, not having a lot of income. Even the annual income, where I was looking at it a minute ago with Tom, we talk about the top it goes up to is 41,300, and at 43,100, the most you get off is 5%. So it's not a huge thing, but for somebody who makes 33,800, they would get 50%. So it gives them quite a break, and it's just something that really helps the people who don't have the income, or who maybe who get old, and a lot of health issues and so forth, and you don't have the money. So I think it's a good thing. I think that's all we say about it. It's something that we want to do and should do and have done. So, Brian, I urged you to come here, and I don't want you to get mad at me if you don't get to say something.
Just a little background. Last time they brought the topic on both the disabled and the senior citizen was 2007, and they had adjusted the sliding scales to a base of 26 up to a ceiling of 34.4. So it's been quite a few years. This has been in the state pipeline, I believe, for probably 5 or 6 years, and it finally got passed at the state level. And there was some modifications to the law, and it was a good opportunity to mimic, or according to what the law asked us, and to adjust that sliding scale. The adjustment was pretty much like a 2% per year cost of living kind of thought process, that the incomes are going up. We should provide the ability that they had received 2007 to be about the same as where we are today, right? So that was the premise of
Well, does this help anybody that's under 65 and not disabled if they don't have enough?
No,
Their income is less than 33, because I know people that work 2 or 3 jobs and don't make 33,000.
it does not. The state does not provide for that.
And the state won't allow
And I
that?
can tell you, Ms. Isabella has faced this situation a couple of times. It was a big discussion in our meetings. But the law is designed for the seniors and those disabled who can't.
So the New York state laws won't allow us to do it?
For those under 65?
Yeah.
No, the New York state law will not allow us to do that.
This is a result of, or paired, for lack of better terms, with the legislation actions that are out there by New York State. So this isn't just a town local law. This is a response to what is out there and the opportunities for us to option. So some communities are deciding not to option these at all.
True.
but it's, I think, I would dare say, you know, it's pretty limited, if that.
I would also say that most communities should be addressing this at this time because it's a state law, you know? And the community that doesn't may leave themselves open to something else because the state law is in place.
Yep.
That's really what it comes down to. That's why we're looking at this.
The only thing I'd mention, pretty obvious, but doesn't impact school tax, which is obviously a major factor.
Well, right, each municipality, the county, and the different school districts all have to address this at some point within their own organizations. They all set different sliding scales. We just, whatever is handed to us, that's when we take the application, we look at what they fall into each municipality's jurisdiction.
And we had to have this done by March, was the.
Correct.
By March, have to have
Of
it
next
ready to
year.
go, of next year. But we felt like it was important to get this in the pipeline, to roll through this, you have applications, to make sure that, you know, we are addressing this for our residents.
Well, that is true. The qualification, we need the numbers that we're voting on today, so Rachel can complete the applications. I don't know of any, I know the county has been working with the schools to see if they can get more schools involved in this program, but the county is not changing their sliding scale. But Rachel needs to know, boom, 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 so if he gets the numbers, she knows where we fall to put on the program.
And I really wanna thank Jim, Brian, and Barb, you know, for really digging into this, because I think we have, without overcomplicating.
Well, not only that, the way the state law is written, I mean, it's like a riddle. I mean, you just have to sort it through, read 5 times. But anyways, I think it worked out, and I think we
Yep.
come to a decent conclusion.
So can I ask you the parameters again? 33 or something?
Well, yeah, if it's annual income of 33,800 or less, the percentage of assessed valuation exempt would be 50%. So,
Can we
We're
raise
moving
that,
up.
or is that not allowed?
May I qualify that? We're moving up from 26,000. That was the thought. Okay, so 26 to 33.
Roughly a 30%, it's 2% per
He
year
needed to know,
for the last
because
15
those are
years.
where we were before. And then the city's at 26.
I just want, because we are very process oriented, I wanna remind people that this is in draft material
Yes.
this evening.
Ah.
Next week, what we will be doing is adopting to set the public hearing. Public hearing will then establish, and then we will, so there are still processes to go forward. But Dana and Barb and Jim and Brian, you know, as tradition, wanted to get this in front of the board as soon as possible with the final drafts to get there before you.
But you said it needed to be done early enough to.
By next
Yeah.
March
March.
is when it's gonna be, when it needs to
So
be
we don't
done.
have a chance to
We
change this if
we
we
are
want.
still well within the timeline
Oh,
of
no,
what we need to do.
we'll have a discussion, you can come in and chat with me, Tom, okay?
Yeah, well, I'll chat with anybody.
Well, like,
People can't
for
afford
understanding.
Groceries and everything else, and they're.
But
it's
we
just-
wanna remember what the purpose of the local law is, and the intent of the local law is, you know, we all have different opinions on what income limitations are. So this was a very thoughtful way of maintaining the intent of both of these laws. Just to say that, you know, I would love to say that there's a lot of people that fall into this, you know, but really we needed to maintain and have a very thoughtful way. That's why we looked at COLA as an example of how to come to the increase between the 26,000 and the 33,800. Really looking at, it hasn't been updated since 2007, 15 years, 2%, and doing it that way. So I would encourage you, Tom, to go in and talk to Brian.
Questions?
I'm good.
All right, with nothing further, thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you,
I
Brian.
do know the need to have the briefest of brief executive sessions tonight regarding the personnel history of one individual. Is there a motion to go into an executive session?
So,
Sostek. Is there a second?
Second?
Isabella. Make a roll call, please.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Dana Isabella,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes. We will enter executive session at 6:14 PM.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate your time.
Good night.
All right?
You going
Good
tomorrow?
night, guys.
What's that?
You going
Out tomorrow.
to the